The opinions I've been hearing on Tat and Ayusha have been like opinions about our current politicians, so they're absurdly mixed. I've bent an ear to many who call it one of the best shows of this season, perfectly balanced in its portrayal of characters, and an equal number who call it the worst piece of shit to ever grow off of that godforsaken island of child rapists. But before we even begin, I can tell you this. There are two kinds of cartoons in this burning heap of hate that is our world. Those that were made mainly because the studio wanted to make a lovely thing for everyone to watch, and those that were made because the studio thought it would be a lovely thing to add another floor to CEO's private skyscraper. And I have a strong suspicion that Shield Hero was made with the latter reasoning. How do I know? Because it's an isekai anime. Even looking at the front cover, you can guess what sort of thing this is going to be and what can you expect from it. Might as well call it Rising of the Black-Haired Dude and His Harem of Girls. Rising of the Shield Hero is a 25-episode trapped in another world anime made by Kinema Citrus about a dude named Naofumi Iwatani who got transported into another world via a light novel as one of the four cardinal heroes, aka the overpowered protagonists who are supposed to defeat a bunch of mobs that are spawned from waves of calamity. The story features two interesting gimmicks. Each of our four heroes comes from a different version of Japan, which makes them and their experience of this world different. Naofumi is a shield hero that is summoned in a country that hates Shield Hero, and as a result, from the first episode he gets shat on by the king, the heroes, the merchants, why, pretty much anyone other than a select few individuals, and that makes him very bitter and hostile to this country. I would say that the story itself isn't that bad, all things considered. The characters' motivations and actions rarely go out of expected things from them. The main hero himself, typically for this sort of genre, is portrayed as cruel in the world, but actually a kind-hearted pragmatic that slowly but surely earns his respect to both his teammates and people around him. The biggest points of contention would probably be how fast everything goes in the narrative. Naofumi gets a ridiculous amount of bullying, to the point where other heroes would have probably left the country by episode 6. In the latter episodes, other heroes get shit for basically one wrong thing they did, which is a bit unfair if you really think about it. People who hated the show often said stuff about slavery and that the hero has no moral troubles with owning slaves, but frankly speaking, these people have probably never read a Japanese light novel before, as that shit is basically the staple of fantasy by now. Admittedly, I can see a point being made about the rashness of our hero, as that isn't very well portrayed up until the latter episodes, where you can see that pretty much all of the heroes are morally flawed and up their own ass. No wonder why before that some people would consider him an unpleasant individual. The graphics are for the most part okay, but getting slightly worse every episode. First it's going to be the weirdly drawn faces that sometimes look like different characters altogether, then there will be 3D that is about as what you expect from Japanese 3D. The music is actually pretty good, if a bit weird at first. It's certainly something I would want to listen to, though I wouldn't say it's overly original, so take my recommendations with a grain of salt. Overall, I would say that I definitely liked Rising of the Shield Hero and would like to see it more. It's not a perfect story, but it's a well-made one, and that's more than enough for me to recommend it. However, if you don't like this specific genre, don't like overly edgy heroes, or just a bit tired of the stereotypical male heroes and their harem of cute girls, then there's little new for you to see here. I suppose the fact that heroes here are worshipped as gods is an interesting idea, but I wouldn't count that as overly original. Just go to North Korea if you want to copy that.